Hey everybody, it's me. I know I haven't seen you guys for a long time. I hope you guys are all doing well. Thank you for still supporting me on my Vimeo channel. I've been busy, making things, having fun, but I wanted to make a quick video just for you guys to tell you a little bit of kiln drama that I have been experiencing. It's sucked up 2 weeks of my life. You may be familiar. Remember, this is Clicky. Clicky, sadly, is no more. One day I knew Clicky was having trouble and finally just bit the bullet. But I was like, well, I bought both of these kilns back in 2017 because I bought two because I was teaching workshops in my studio and I had this fear of if a kiln goes out during a class, what are we going to do? So I bought the second. This is Beepy, and Beepy, you can see, looks totally brand new. So I was like, well, Clicky's dead. I tried replacing the panel. I think what it really needs is this new insert thing, but I didn't have any time because I have things to get done. So Beepy, I was like, well, we'll just use Beepy. No, I should have tested Beepy after I moved. Something jostled in Beepy and Beepy doesn't work either. So I know we'll move forward. Maybe I can pull one working kiln out of these two little guys, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy a new kiln. So I ordered myself a new Paragon SC2 with the fancy little touchscreen controller from Rio Grande. I was like, well, I wanted to try something new, but I really just needed something fast, and I could see that it would ship, and I couldn't really find that many other options. I thought about a Vicella, but there was a long shipping thing and it was a lot more expensive. So anyway, I got my new kiln a couple of days later, was delivered, and it's exactly the same. It has a fancy little touchscreen controller. I was like, well, how fun, how fun. And so I plug it in, I get it all going, and immediately there is a problem with this kiln. The touchscreen is great, but the problem is when I was opening the kiln door, you put your piece in and the temperature drops. It was not coming back up to temperature. It was taking 8, 10, 12 minutes to get from, say, it had dropped to 1300 to get back up to 1450, which is, it is kind of game over for enamels. And I was like, what's going on? What should I do? This is terrible. This is terrible. It's a brand new kiln. It shouldn't do that. So I knew I was going to have to call Paragon and see if they could solve my problems. But to be quite honest, I've never gotten off the phone with people at Paragon and thought to myself, now this is good customer service. So I was like, wrote all my notes down. I was like, all right, I'm going to be really clear. I'm going to call them and they're going to help solve my problem. So I call Paragon, and this is classic Paragon, and I feel like I'm bothering them, and they forward me to the technician, and I try to explain the issue to her about how the kiln is not heating up. It needs to get back up to the temperature, and she said, this is just how it is with these new touchscreen controllers. People were complaining that it wasn't accurate, that it was overshooting, and so they've adjusted the kiln, so this is just how it is. And I was like, well, that's not really going to work for me. Is there anything I can do? And she's like, well, you can set your dampening factor to 10. And I was like, oh, okay, so I should do that, and that would fix my problem. And she's like, I don't know, I don't think so. We've sold thousands of these kilns, and no one has complained. And then there was kind of like a silence. And so I said, well, I guess I'll try that. Thank you. And I hung up. So I set it to 10 and it didn't work. In fact, it was way worse. And so I packed it up in frustration, not frustration, but just sadness. And I shipped it back to Rio Grande. Still haven't gotten my money back yet, but hopefully that'll happen soon. They just got it back yesterday. And it's like, oh God, I have to try something new. I have to try some sort of kiln that I've never tried, and it has to be here ASAP. So let me introduce you to my new kiln. Let me introduce you to my beautiful new, this, my friends, is a HotShot Kiln. Look how clean and nice it is. And right out of this arrived, I called this company after talking to Paragon because I found them. They were kind of buried on the internet, and I actually called them up. They answered the phone, and they were so nice. They answered all of my questions, and they said that if I was having any trouble with this kiln, they would help. They would fix the problem for me. So I went ahead and ordered this kiln. They put it on. It was from, I think this is from Wisconsin is where this was made. It arrived in 2 days. And so this is a beautiful, look how nice it is. It has a touch screen. We'll turn that on in a moment. But the thing that I love the best is this handle. Look at this. Beautiful. Easy. No jankiness. It's just smooth and nice. The interior chamber is 7 inches by 7 inches by 7 inches. It has kind of a kiln brick composite, but you can see the elements won't be, if they ever die, I won't need to replace the entire compartment. I would be able to replace just the elements. It has a separate little kiln floor, so if this gets gnarly, I could just get another one of these. It's amazing. So let's turn it on. And because there's a few things that are kind of special about this kiln. I've been putting it through its paces. You can see over here, I've been making earrings and pendants, and it's just really nice. So let's go ahead and turn this on, I believe. And when I turn it on, you're going to hear the one thing that it's in the other room. There we are. You can see we have a touchscreen controller here. Here we are. This is a Genesis Spark controller, and you can see it's pretty straightforward. But we're going to go ahead and turn it on. So I'm just going to hit the fire button, custom, and you can see I've created my own Sandra. And if you want to see what it is, let's look at the segments. The rate is 9999, which means it's going to go full throttle all the way up to 1430 and hold for 4 hours. Perfect. So let's go ahead and start. We'll come back when it's actually heated up. It takes about 15 minutes for the whole temperature, for it to come up to temperature, and I'll show you the other special thing about it as soon as we're back up. While the kiln is heating up, let me tell you a little bit more about this kiln. So this kiln arrived, I plugged it in. We'll talk about, it was so easy. You just plug it in and go. It was really well packed. And so I plug it in and it comes up to temperature, like I say, in about 15 minutes. It's great. You know, I start my process of opening the door, seeing how much it drops, and it's having the same problem as the Paragon kiln. It does have that same Genesis controller, slightly different version, but it's still Genesis. And not quite as bad, but it was still doing the thing where it was dropping, and then it was giving itself like 5 minutes. It would like take about 35-40 seconds before it even recognized that it needed to come back up. And so I was frustrated, and so I called HotShot. I was like, so you sold me this kiln and you promised that you would solve this problem. And so I explained exactly everything that I've talked to you about, and she listened to me, and she's like, oh yes, that seems like that would definitely be a problem. Let me go talk to our engineers because we can solve this problem. I guarantee you that this is a programming issue. We might need a day or two. It was kind of it's Thursday evening that I had spoken with them. And she's like, I might not be able to get back to you till Monday, but I really want to talk to the engineers and see what we could do for you. And I was like, that sounds great. And so anyway, the very next day she calls back in the afternoon. She's like, oh, okay, so we have kilns on our side and we've been running all these different tests, and there are this is kind of all the things that I had figured out. So there are 2 different settings that a kiln uses to figure out what temperature it's at, how fast it's going to recover. And the first is called PID Gain, and that stands for proportional integral derivative something. And I'm reading it from my cheat sheet. There's an algorithm which helps ensure precise temperature control. It adjusts how aggressively the kiln responds to the differences between the actual temperature and the target temperature. And the second factor is called the dampening factor. This factor controls how much fluctuation of dampening occurs in the kiln's heating cycles as it approaches the target temperature. So we have those 2 things. And on these touch screens, you can see that there are these settings. And so they had gone and because they'd rejiggered the kilns to be really perfect for, I guess, metal clay, or what, maybe more people use metal clay. And so they needed more precise temperature. So it would take longer to get there, but it would really not fluctuate more than 1 degree in either direction, which is not really how we need it for enameling. So anyway, they got back to me and they're like, it's all about these things. And so they told me to set the kiln at 12 PID gain and 2 dampening. The kiln had come preset to, I think, 18 and 4 dampening, and she's like, crank it down to these 2 things. You can do it in the touch screen, and I'll show you how later. It's very easy. I wouldn't fool around too much, and she's like, well, and what's going to happen is it will respond a lot faster, and it won't be as accurate. It will overshoot a little bit, and so you'll just have to kind of play around and see. And so I actually ended up taking all these notes. Like I spent a whole 2 days putting things in the kiln, timing every 15 seconds what the drop was, what I could put in, because it was like making sample strips, but with kiln heat. And I really got a sense of it, and it completely solved the problem. And I ended up, I believe my go-to settings for this kiln was a PID gain of 12 and a dampening factor of 2. Interesting that Paragon told me to put my dampening factor at 10, which is actually would have the dampening factor. The lower numbers make the kiln respond faster. Sorry, I'm reading. And can lead to overshielding, but higher numbers make the kiln respond more slowly and gradually, resulting in a steadier temperature, but possibly longer heating time. So interesting that they told me to set it to 10, which is the opposite. So either perhaps they weren't really listening to what my problem was, or they don't care. So anyway, that's spilling the tea about Paragon. I'm never going to get another Paragon kiln, and it's just too bad because, these kilns, they're the lifeblood of enameling. But that being said, I'm so tickled with this HotShot Kiln. It is, it doesn't come in a variety of, fashionable colors, but it is solidly made. And you know what? Let's go. I bet it's heated up because there's something special that I really like about it that I'm going to show you right now. Let's go see how the kiln's going. It's in the other room. Hooray. This room, here's the room. We'll back up into the room, and you can see this room was kind of a bit of a junk room, but I've got the kiln. Wait, where? Hold on, I'm gonna have to switch. Oh, here we are. There's the kiln right there. And you can see I've got my Cab King over here. So I know we're doing a total thing. There's our old, I still use him a lot. And I've moved my soldering station over there because I can crack that window open and get a little ventilation. So anyway, let me show you what's special about this kiln. So you can see that this kiln is at 14, let me come over here, 1433, so it's a little bit fluctuating. It's not dead on 1430 Fahrenheit, which is what I have it set. But look, this kiln is full temperature. Let me go ahead and, hold on, where'd I put my glove? It's in the other room, good. I'll open it so you can see that it's nice and hot on the inside. Look at that, beautiful. Woo! But what I love about it is, yeah, we're gonna drop and come back up. The kiln is quite literally cool to the touch on the outside, and especially this is perfectly cool. Hence, there is a fan. I'm kind of glad the kiln's in the other room because the fan might be a little bit distracting, but the fan, even the blowing of the fan is cool. It's kind of embedded. I think that's their gimmick, but you know what? It really makes a big difference that the kiln is cool to the touch. I feel like, especially for, you know, if you have a smaller studio and you have other people working, yeah, you can't dry things on top of the kiln, but you shouldn't have been doing that anyway. So, yeah, so that's the special thing about the kiln. HotShot, love it. So let's go ahead and wrap this little kiln. Is there anything else to tell you? No, maybe later on, once I have really used this kiln for like 6 months, we'll do an in-depth retrospective, see if it holds up. But as of right now, I'm really loving this kiln. So I will put a link to where I got it in the description of the video. And so if you want to get yourself one, you should definitely check it out. This is probably, I'm not sure if they ship overseas. This is an American-made kiln. So for all of us in America, the United States, this might be a good kiln. Oh, it's the exact same price. I think the whole kiln was like $1,300, $1,350 with shipping. So that's a pretty good price for what is a really nice big kiln. So that is all. So that is my kiln story, and you know, hopefully the kiln will work out. But I will definitely keep you posted. This is going to be a little bonus thing because this is the stupidest thing ever. I was at a class at Touchdown, and one of the students, you know how we're using for doing the little mini washes, we're using the little pipettes, these, to do the washes. And it takes kind of forever because you're getting more. A $2 thing that changed my life in the last month is one of these. These are just little squirt bottles. I think they're for medical things or pet use. You can fill it with distilled water, and you could wash like you could wash dozens of colors very fast, and you don't have, then you just fill this up. You don't have to keep doing a little bit more. So buy one of these. Maybe I'll put a link to this next to the kiln. They're both very important time savers. Like this, I can't believe I didn't know about this, but I don't know what it's called, but it's a little squirt bottle. So get yourself one of those if you can. So thank you again. And I promise in the new year, I'm going to have some new videos coming. So stay tuned for that. Have a great day, everybody. Take care, and happy enameling.